Okay. So almost there. Once should I wait? That's what? Sing that up, I hope my headphones are on. Okay. So show you pictures. Yeah, I just said almost there. Hmm, 8:30. I was up 8:30.
I know African time.
Well, I try to let this be African whatever, but Klamashi. It is what it is. Okay. So Shirley. All right, everyone. Welcome to the show. This is the Sibyl podcast, a podcast about culture and cultural nomads for designed for Blacks and Asians and those who love them. And I'm your host, Sibyl, Nigerian born, US educated, Korean speaking, struggling intellectual. Oh, Morin, thanks. I see that. Um, I'm so glad to be doing this today. This is like I woke up very early this morning. It was like a kid, on Christmas morning, and I just want to say that I consider it really a privilege to be able to share the stories I have on this platform. And without my guests, coming on and um, giving me their input, I probably won't, have a platform. So I want to thank every one of you, all of my guests, and also special thanks to my listeners as well, to all of you who have been quite, supportive and along this journey. I just want to say that without you, there won't be the show. So today, wow, of all the privileges, I've already talked about being privileged, and I know you guys support me a lot. And I'd like to even talk about yet another privilege I have, and that is to bring my dear friend Morin Omopariola to the show, just to talk about her story. It's a story that I have had that privilege to know for many years, and I told Maureen maybe it's last year or sometime last year, whenever you think you've gotten to that point where you're okay to talk about yourself and you want to come on the show to therapize, know that you have an open invitation. And she did use that wild card some days ago, and she just reached out to me like, I want to come on the show. I sent her the link. Usually when I send people the link, they linger, they don't feel it in time, and I have to remind them. But she feel it right away. That's why I realized that this girl means business. So I just matched her passion with my passion, and the rest, as I say, is history. So she hails from Lagos, Nigeria. She moved here when she was in her teens. And I'll let her introduce herself well. But she has a degree in healthcare administration and business administration, and she's a healthcare support worker, and she has been in the healthcare field for 14 years. So everyone, join me in welcoming Morin to the show.
Hello, everybody.
And oh my gosh. Thank you. You've been so patient because I know we
I
had that
know
snafu with the stuff,
technical difficulty.
technical difficulties. So I think we'll just maybe give me like a bit of. All right. So basically, what I'm gonna do now is just to send the link out so that people can join us. But in the
Yeah.
meantime, I guess just maybe tell us a little bit more about yourself. I know people do that all the time, but if you can tell us a little bit more about yourself and and all of that, that'll be nice.
A little bit more about myself
Mm-hmm.
pertaining to
Oh no, no, we haven't gotten to the topic yet. Just like your bio, like
who I
where
am.
you grew up and all that.
Well, fun fact about me, all my names start with an O. So,
Well, how many names do you have?
and I married an whole last name as well. Omorin Sola,
Ah,
Oyenike, Omoyeni, Omolola,
whoa.
Omopariola, right?
So I guess your kids will kind of know what kind of names they'll be having.
Oh Lord, I'm changing that.
Really, you know what? You don't want to, continue that whatever.
No way.
Okay.
Nigerian parents, they love host so much. My husband is Oluwafemi too.
Yeah,
So
it's always that's my husband's alarm. My gosh, it can wake the dead. Um, it's always like Oluwa something or Oluwa
Oh,
Omo Ola especially.
another one, yeah.
Oh my gosh! And I told my mom like my name is Motola and I like and I have and I said that's like you people name me after money. She's like no, Ola is not money, Ola is wealth. I'm like kini yato.
I know.
what's the what's the difference in that? But anyways, well, so those that are joining us, welcome to the show. I started chatting with my friend here, Morin, and oh hi Wale. I don't know if you can see us. Morin also joined as well. All right, just one more second. Uh, so asim asymptom. So what's it? Link here. I feel like until I send that Facebook link, it just like it's like you're not. I share it on WhatsApp. It feels like you haven't done your job. Yeah, but oh sorry, almost done. Just to do that one.
Let me send another link as well.
Yeah, and I'm gonna I think you're already on my broadcast list, so you can just see you can just share that as well. Just forward what I just sent you to your friends.
Mm-hmm.
And we're almost there. Okay. Um, Wale, are you able to hear us, Mr. Wale? Hi. Are you able to hear us? I just want to be sure that people can, hear us as we're talking. Um, and got questions for Maureen? Please add them here. That's what happens when you're trying to be tech savvy. It's always fun, but can be disastrous sometimes. All right. Okay.
Mhm.
So I think we'll just wait for a couple of people to join us.
Okay.
Yeah. So you posted on your group as on your page as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Um, I guess we can just get started really because I've sent it out. People have seen that. So I think from here on out it's just that. So what I wanted to start with is just a reminder of why we're doing this. So what you will not hear during this episode with this time with Maureen is, name calling or name bashing. We're
Oh
not here
yeah.
for that. We're gonna do this respectfully. And really there's a lingering question that Maureen has, and I'm gonna share that with you because I hope that and I told her that, I have wonderful listeners. Like the questions are always very inspiring. So I hope that when you guys listen to the question that Maureen has, because it's really lingering, it's really a question that she needs to get answers to so she can have that closure. And it's very important to know that despite her being in a loving relationship right now with her husband, and she definitely can mirror her both those two experiences with husband number one and husband number two, so she knows what the health relationship should be like. So even despite being within the boundaries of a safe relationship, some things still pop up, and it's just a reminder for us listening that even though you might be out of the woods, there could be some residual effect. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're thinking about the past. Maybe something you can hear something or see something, and I think they call it triggers. So that's that. Another thing is also we need to tell our stories because sometimes I feel like as Christians, even as people, what we shouldn't be tagged shameful, we use that as a way to kind of hold ourselves back. It's
That's
okay
right.
to acknowledge, the missteps we've made in life because nobody's perfect. We're trying to figure life together. And when we make mistakes or we take a step we're not supposed to take, it's good to go back and think about it to see how I can prevent that from happening to me and also to other people. But shame is something that we always bring along with that baggage. And I think of shame as so when we were younger, we used to kill chicken, and there's this bow that you're supposed to remove carefully because if you don't remove it carefully, if it bursts, it's gonna like make all the chicken taste, bitter. I see that as shame. Like you bring it along in the back. It comes with the baggage because these experiences are negative, but it shouldn't hint the very essence. So the reason we are sharing the story is to actually to set people free, especially Morin, and I think for myself as well, because I also need to learn, how to draw healthy boundaries in all of my relationships. It doesn't have to be romantic in all of my relationships. So that's why we're really doing this. So Maureen, I think we can get started to talk about your childhood briefly, how you grew up, and I think that's a very good way to get started because your family, babe. That's my husband's alarm yet again. Like I said, it's enough to wake the dead person. So I think let's talk about your family dynamic because it's going to play a lot of role to kind of people can't understand just why some things happened because
That's
of
right.
that, and then why some things were like it's both a protective factor and sometimes because I see like a double-edged sword. Like the way we grew up, sometimes we have things that protect us and the things that might not protect us. So it's good to have those balance. So can you tell us a little bit about just your childhood growing up?
Well, I'm the only girl in my family, the only daughter of my mom. I grew up among three boys, and my family background, I mean, my family is really a close-knit one in the sense that we do everything, not really together, but we know everything about each other so much. We're really involved in each other's life. And my brothers has always been overprotective of me. Like, even my dad, because I remember one day that I needed to go somewhere. It was just like maybe 10 minutes away to the house. My dad would never allow me go alone. I mean, not by myself. He had to
Yeah,
tell his driver to go with me just so that boys don't call me or talk to me on the way. It's always been like that. And even though I didn't grow up in affluence, like we'll say,
yeah.
Nation Dangote.
But you have some spoon. You didn't go up with a silver spoon, but there's some spoon in your mouth.
Exactly. Yeah, but I never lacked everything I needed, at any point in time. I always had it. So um things like Yoruba would say, I don't know the right word to use. Nǹkan ò jọ mí lójú. If you
Yeah.
have anything that I don't have, I'm not gonna because of that go and misbehave or anything. I know,
Oh,
I'm okay in my own space
yeah.
and I'm content. Exactly. So that has been my bringing, and I'm glad for how far my parents tried over me because going to FGGC or your is not a joke.
That's a boarding house for those that don't know that. So I met Marin in high school. We were in
Exactly.
boarding house, like I call
That
it
was the
internment
fun
camp for 6 years. It was the best of my years and it was also the worst of my years.
I
But
know. Tell me
yeah,
about it. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah, so that's a solid background, and I really appreciate my parents for giving me that because that built the foundation for everything I am today. Even some of the things I've gone through in life, that kind of helped me to overcome a lot. All
Yeah,
the beauty and everything,
yeah.
and yeah, this
Yeah.
is me.
Okay. Good. Thank you for that. So, you left after high school. You were lucky enough to win the visa lottery, and then you
Oh
moved to
yeah.
the US. And that's very key to note because she didn't come here with an expired visa, and she needed to, she was
Yeah.
desperate to marry somebody. I mean, she was desperate to get married, but we'll explain why, and why that can be a trap for women, especially.
Hmm.
And but she came here on her own legality, so she wasn't bound by anybody. Like she didn't need anybody for like what she call arranging marriage, and that's very important to know because people that enter this kind of situations, it doesn't necessarily mean sometimes that they're desperate to really get married because of visa purposes or green card purposes. So she moved here and Morin was the definition of a good girl. And I remember her then in school with her long skirt and her glasses.
Oh
Like
my
she
God.
was a good girl. And I want to put it down. And everything I'm talking about now, I already have permission to share with you because
Oh
we've had long talks about it. So sometimes it might come off as being brash or being what's the word? Like, why are you talking about that? Because this is what Morin really needs. Like, we need to just put everything out there. So, as far
exactly.
as good girl, she was a virgin before marriage, and
Oh.
she did it right. She was quite spiritual, and I asked her this like, would you think that being a virgin sometimes, like, when sometimes when you hear like some virgins just think, because I kept myself, I deserve, a good marriage, I deserve a good man, and I'd asked her that, like, did you think you had that pride in your heart, and also just that expectations for, being a good girl all this while, here's my reward, and my reward should come in form of a man, and she did admit that much. I think that's also very, very important because it's good to, whatever your boundaries of morality can be, set those boundaries, but reward, as far as this is because I'm a virgin, this is what I deserve, can put us into trouble. And Maureen also told me this that I think you should just tell us a little bit about what marriage was like to you, like why you had to get married.
Well, for one, I've always had this fantasy of when I'm 25, I'm gonna get married. I'll marry a professional. And another thing that put me in the box was I was always thinking, oh, I'm gonna marry a lawyer or a doctor, that kind of African pride, and bring that person home, and then my parents will be proud of
Mm.
me, that kind of thing. Then also the age thing, because I
Mm.
remember my boyfriend that was dating then, it was a long distance relationship, and I had
Okay.
to end it because he was not ready to get married when I clocked 25. Because as
Oh.
at then, he had nothing. I mean, it wasn't set at all. So I was rushing for that age as well because I believed, okay, 25, 26, that's your prime. Get married, have your husband, babies, and all. And another thing is also because I value marriage a lot. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, have a beautiful home. It's just a beautiful dream of mine.
Mm.
So I was really looking forward to it. And those were the things that pushed me to do it at the time when I did.
Okay. And I think that's another. I think we talked about this also yesterday. Is that we also need to be very very careful when we set those goals. Like I have to be married by this particular time.
Yeah.
And especially when we take marriage to be the end all be all, like once I get married, this is it. Like I'm now elevated above, societal status. I'm now
That's
Mrs. Like that's like our goal. I mean, it's a good goal to have, but it shouldn't be your identity, your whole identity. And I
yeah.
say this, my bias is that I've been married for 8 years. 8 years is not the length of time means nothing. That means nothing. So I'm not trying to, gloat about that. No, but what I'm trying to say is that I never for once thought marriage was an achievement. No, it's what you have with the person together, what you build together, that would be the achievement. Like I always say this, what did I do specially for my husband to find me? Did I stand, by the wall in a particular way? Did I, smile in a particular way? No. He was drawn to something in me as I was drawn to something in him. And it's those things that we're putting together to like, make something good. So for women out there that are still aspiring towards marriage, it's a beautiful thing. I will tell you that much. You can make it beautiful, but don't let your whole identity as a person, as an essence, to be tied to being married. That is a
Exactly.
trap. That is a trap.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, and I'm not this in Nigeria especially as a young girl growing up, the moment you're popped out of your mother's hoo-ha and you're walking around, it's like
Yeah.
marriage. Is that how you're gonna do in your husband's house? And we start training girls like, so a lot of us don't even have our identity. You're
Hmm.
groomed to serve somebody. Like your purpose in life should be able to serve somebody. While those are good skills to have, but you should also build the other areas, like
I
an
know.
individual level. Like as you as an individual, what are your likes? What makes you tick? So that was another big trap for Morin. So you came to the US, and how did you meet, your first husband? And do you want us to call him a nickname? Preferably something,
Yeah.
I have
Maybe.
ideas of a lot of nicknames, but don't
Okay,
go with my
yeah, give
suggestion.
one.
No, no, they're not nice on the show. I don't want my listeners to see my bad colors yet. So no, you go
Okay.
yours.
Well, for the purpose of easy communication, let's just call him, I don't know. Which Yoruba name can we give?
B, but that's like a big
Okay, let's say Bayo. Well, sorry
bio.
to
Okay.
whoever's bearing Bayo. Anyway, so yeah, I met Bayo on Facebook
Okay.
actually, and he had sent me messages like a year before I finally replied him. And it's just where initially when he sent me a message, I was kind of still lingering around, ending my relationship and all of that. So after my relationship ended, then I was on the lookout for something else. And
Okay.
another thing that was a disadvantage to me is the fact that I was thinking, oh, how am I ever gonna get married? How
Mm.
am I gonna meet somebody? I don't go to parties, I don't go to club. My social life is like, I don't know what to call it. So yeah, Facebook was my last place to just go ahead and look like, okay, for
Mm.
somebody that doesn't go out. So that was why I started looking through my messages. They will say reply your DMs. So
Yeah, slave to your yeah. This was 2010, by the way. Let's put things inside
yeah, this
context.
was
This was
2010.
before
Like
we could go on Google and find somebody who knew somebody that knew the person. Like we're very trusting
exactly,
then. We're very, very trusting.
exactly. So I started scanning through my messages. I saw a bunch of ugly ones, but eventually I found his message and I replied him. I was like, oh, okay, nice meeting you, blah blah blah, and went from there. But at that time, each time I would tell people how I met him, I never said Facebook because I was very ashamed to talk about meeting
About it,
somebody
yeah.
over the
On
internet.
Facebook.
because it wasn't really popular as a then. And
Yeah, yeah,
I just don't
yeah.
know how people are gonna take it. They're gonna judge me like,
And now we have Tinder. Like we met at
I
Tinder. I just
know.
swiped the other direction. Like, happy times we had there.
And there's this other thing that they always say. Well, sorry because I'm gonna say this in Yoruba, like
I can translate.
Okoria Fefe, like internet husband.
Oh,
You know,
is that the name for it? Like, oh, so the literal translation is that a husband that floats in the sky, like a cloud-based husband. Yoruba. Oh my gosh.
exactly. You know, Nigerians are mean. Or they will spoil something for you. You go,
Yeah,
you be second guessing yourself. So yeah. So that made me not to disclose how I met him.
you
If
guys
I had
went.
done that, maybe that would have helped me, in a way,
Mm.
because it would have opened me to people's advices and I would have been able to filter the ones to pick and the ones to let
Mm.
go, you know. But I didn't tell people.
Thank you
So
for sharing that candidly. So you guys met and then you started dating,
we
and
started
then
dating from there,
it was
video
long distance.
calling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
majorly long distance relationship because he lived 8 hours away from where I was. I mean, by driving. Yeah.
yeah, driving. Yeah, but I think what I'm trying to bring out here was that he came to you most of the time. You never really got to know about. You never saw him in
I
his natural environment.
No,
He
I
cut it
never
short.
visited him for once while I was
Oh,
dating
really?
him. I never. He was
Okay.
always the one flying over. Sometimes he would drive to come and visit me. Yeah.
Okay. And
We'll
that's
spend
very
the
important
weekend and
because
leave.
you don't know this person in their natural elements. You don't know how they are with their friends. You don't even know
Yeah.
how they are with their families, assuming they have families here. What you just see is what they make you see. So that's the second
Exactly.
trap. That is a
And
very,
it's
very big
really
trap.
very easy to put on a mask for the weekend, Friday to Sunday. You can play real good and then you leave. And come another month, you visit the person again. So it's not like you're saying every day you see them, not naked as they are. I didn't have that opportunity. Yeah,
Okay. And you guys did that for 6 months.
we did.
And
Yes,
I'm not going to talk about the length of time, like, oh, 6 months is too short. No,
it's
I don't
not.
think length matters as much as the quality. So
Yep.
let's backtrack because it's very important to notice because Maureen's husband, like her second husband, and they met for that long as well. Or
My
that's
my original current one. We dated for 6 months.
the real love of her life. Yes, they only did it for the same 6 months, and it's so different. It's like night and day. So I say this out that length of time doesn't matter as long
It
as there's
does not.
quality. Another thing I asked Maureen was there somebody that your ex-husband rather, deferred to, someone that he feared, someone that could talk to him, someone that he could listen to, and she was like, there was nobody
There was
because
nobody.
in his family structure, he was the breadwinner, so everybody was like a yes man to him. Everyone said yes to him. Everyone deferred to him because he had the money. And so
Mm-hmm.
even his mom, like, there was nobody to even talk to him. And,
Mm-hmm.
if anything happened, Maureen was just by herself. And so
Yeah.
that's very, very important. You need to find out your significant other to be who they defer to. There has to be somebody you defer to. Like, if you think you're you're in your own little universe where you reign supreme in your little kingdom, that is also another red flag right there.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Um, and so you guys finally got married and went to Nigeria. You did the church wedding, which I know people living here might be a little bit different. So church weddings in Nigeria, for the most part, sometimes it's not legally binding, depending on the kind of church. So what some churches suggest you do is you go to the court or in front of a magistrate and you get like the documentation showing that you were legally married. Some
Yeah.
churches have that dual combination of doing the church and the officiating minister could be someone that is recognized by the state laws to like join together in holy matrimony or unholy matrimony, whatever your matrimony level is. But in her case, all she did was just the church wedding, right? And the traditional wedding. And the hope was to come to the US to get it done, correct? To get the official one done.
Yeah.
All right. Now, can you tell us what happened the moment you stepped into, like, at the point of entry? Now, you guys remember that Morin already had a green card. I think by then you're already a citizen, right?
Oh no, I had a year to become a citizen then.
Okay, but she had a green card. Like, she wasn't
Yeah.
dependent on anybody.
Oh
But
yeah.
when did you start seeing those little cracks, you know,
The
on the mirror of your relationship?
I started seeing the red sign when we were coming back from Nigeria. In fact, the first day we were entering the US from getting married, we got to the point of entry and They were doing a random check. At the time, I think something was happening because this guy was working with a food company, and it's a major part of the US. They supply food all over. So if any of their employees gonna travel outside of the country, they're gonna put them on a watch because they don't know what they're bringing back or how it's gonna cause an
Contamination and all that. Yeah.
exactly, or a mass destruction to people. So I think his name was listed as being out of the country. So when he was coming back, they picked him, for random checking. And as at the time too, somebody was sending a threat message to one of their bosses at work. The guy was in Yemen at the time. So it was like a little stuff. So they were, asking questions and all that. So they picked him and started questioning him that where was he coming from? Did he go to Yemen while he was in Nigeria? What are the places that he visited and all of that? So while he was picked, he told me that he's going to call somebody right now who can help, that he doesn't know what's going on. But in the event that it doesn't get through to the person and the person calls back, I should let the person know that he called, and that if she asks who I am, I should tell her that I'm his sister. And I was like, why will I tell her I'm your sister? I'm your wife. But he said, oh, just do as I said, And I was like, okay. So he went inside, he gave me his phone, and not quite long, the lady called back and saying, Bio just called me. Is everything okay? It sounded like there's an emergency. And mind you, this lady is an Akata.
Okay. Akata is what you call African Americans.
Sorry for using that word.
Yeah. Well, it's just we're just gonna call her African American. Let's not say Akata.
Sorry for using that word. I didn't mean
It's
to
okay.
say that.
It's okay. No, I know it's okay. I don't think his jury is out to see whether it's an offensive word. It's just a term we use, like Oyinbo for white people, Akata for.
Yeah. So she's an African American, and she called back and she said, "Oh, Bio just called me. Is everything all right?" Then I told her no, that there's a situation going on. They just picked him. We don't know what's going on. And then she was like, "Who are you?" Then I said, "I'm his sister." I mean, as I was told to say. So yeah, so she was like, "Okay, when he comes back, I'll just tell him to give me a call back. I'm gonna be by my phone." So when he came right out, I said, "Oh, this lady just called and she told me to tell you to call her back." So he called her back, but he didn't place the call in my presence. So I was like, "Why do you have to walk away to make a call? I'm your wife, and there's nothing we're hiding. We're both here. This is the port of entry. It's a big issue. What's going on?" So he stepped away and made the call. When he came back, he was like, "What did you tell her on the phone?" And I just looked, "What do you mean, what did I tell her on the phone?" "I just told her what you told me to say, that I'm your sister, and we're just coming back from Nigeria. This is the situation going on." Then he said, "Oh, well, she's very angry. She didn't like the way you spoke." And I was like, to God who made me, I didn't say anything. I didn't show any attitude over the phone. Why would she say that? So I felt a little sad. And at the same time, I was thinking, what's going on? But that was where I started being uncomfortable, for a minute. And then the whole situation got settled. We finally realized, something was going on his job, blah, blah, blah. And they let him go. And we got home. And that was the first time we started living together. But that day continued to play in my head. Why will you tell me to tell her that I'm your sister? That's not normal. So yeah.
So at this point, what was going on in your mind? Like, did you suspect that he had somebody else?
When he said that, I actually thought maybe he was cheating on me, and he didn't want me to know what was going on at the time. And which I did have that conversation with him, because I called him. I was like, I need to know what actually happened that day. Why did they pick you up? Are you in some sort of trouble, So he explained everything to the point of telling me, yeah, because that was what brought out the whole explanation of how he got into the country. So when I asked who the lady was, he said, she's the only person I can call if I'm in trouble. And I said, why is that? So he said, oh, she was the one that brought me to the US, and this is how I got him. Then I said, okay, why were you picked? He said he didn't know if he was in trouble because he had a problem with immigration one time that he traveled to Bahamas, and his paper was still in process. So they were going to deport him back to Nigeria as at the time, because he was not supposed to travel outside the country then.
Yeah.
So the Bahamas immigration were gonna deport him back to Nigeria, but he had called this lady, and as at then, this lady was okay. Maybe I shouldn't give her identity. Well,
Yeah.
she was working in a high regard, you know.
She
She
had the
trusted.
status. Yeah.
Yeah,
She could
exactly.
call the shots. Yeah.
Yeah. So he had to call her, and then she called some people, you know, in high places, and then they had to you know, move his paper stuff for as quickly as possible, just so it won't be
Whoa.
trouble. And one thing she had
Wow.
to do, because they were gonna deport him to Nigeria, so she had to make calls and everything, and then have them give him a new visa from Bahamas to America. Like it was just nearly coming, because that's the only way
Wow.
it would not have gone to Nigeria. So that's how powerful this woman is that he was involved with. So imagine me contesting with her. This little
Like
26-year-old.
I know. I know. I know. I know. I know. So we're just gonna fast forward here. I'm just gonna summarize some of the things you've told me. So it turns out that your husband, well, be Bio here. Bio was legally married to this person,
Yeah,
and you were the side, woman, and you didn't know that.
exactly.
You thought this was your husband, but apparently he was a buffet. He was going around like people were having a piece of him, like Popeye's chicken. And then you also found out that in his workplace you were not listed as a next of kin,
Yeah.
and
This woman
so
was.
yeah, the woman was. He was gone from the house for about 3 days, and then you go to his office to go looking for him. Like you never even knew a lot of his friends. Number one, you
Yeah,
never, you were not going to any of his work parties and things like that. So you
nothing.
went there, and they told you, sorry, we can't give you any information about this person because the name on his next of kin wasn't yours. It was this other
Yes.
person, this
Mm-hmm.
other woman that had his last name,
Mm-hmm.
but you couldn't get access to that. And then by the time he finally came home, he never told you what he was for 3 days because he kept going to work, but he just wasn't coming from home to work.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I also think you said something about emotional abuse and financial abuse. Can you talk
Yeah,
a little bit about that? Because I think it's also very important for the listeners to know that these things just don't start one day. Like
it does
people,
not.
oh, did you see the signs? No, people that will manipulate you, they call it grooming or ghost. Like it's not just something that a big thing. It's little by little.
Yeah,
Like what's that game we always play? Jenga. Like you're removing the chips a little by little, and the whole thing just comes crumbling down. So
yeah,
let's just start talking about some of the patterns. Like looking back now, because I'm sure when you were there, you didn't really see a lot of these signs, and there wasn't a
I
lot of
did
people
not.
for you to talk to because your
Exactly.
personality. And then he moved you to his where he was living,
His
so
face,
he
yeah,
unplugged you from your natural environment, which
exactly.
in some relationships that's like a mutual discussion to be had, but you almost had no choice. You had to move there. So all of your friends, all of the structure you had built for many years,
I had
nothing.
nothing. Mhm.
So can we just talk about those emotional and financial abuse so that at least
Yes,
our
when I
listeners can
married
get an
him, like you
idea?
just said, I had to relocate from where I was to go live with him. And going to live with him, I was by myself. I had no friends. I couldn't go out because he was the only one I had that I could call somebody I can relate with, somebody I expected to be doing things with, going out and all of that. So my social life was zero, other than going to church, going to work, and of course do my online school as a then. And when all these problems started, that he wasn't coming home, I was always home by myself, or he would not talk to me in the house for days. It was driving me crazy. So I became so depressed that I wasn't functioning like I should. And then it started affecting me on the job as well. That most days I'll be calling off work. I'm not coming in today just because up there I wasn't myself. And if you keep calling off work every now and then,
You're
this
gonna
is
get
America.
fired. Yeah, you're
They're
gonna
gonna
get
fire
fired.
you. So
Yeah.
eventually, I had to turn in my letter saying I'm going PRN, which means call me when you need
When
me as
necessary, yeah.
backup. Exactly. But I
And
wasn't
that's
going
a
to be
pay
full
cut. That's
time.
a significant pay cut, and you don't even get like frequent calls.
It is, because most of the time, nobody expects to be calling out every now and then so that
Because
you
even when
come
you
and
had your
see
full
them.
time job, you weren't always there. So
Exactly.
PRN, why would they trust that you show up when they need you like
Exactly.
urgently?
So that was like a disadvantage to me. And unknowing to me, that was an hedge for him. So he took over that situation to abuse me emotionally and financially, because now I had to depend on him for everything. You
Oh,
know,
and also sexually too. I mean, we're not going to go into details, but
yeah,
yeah,
because
he
like
withheld
I
his body
said,
from
I was
you.
going through a lot. We were in the house for 8 months. There was no sexual relation between husband and wife. He would rather watch porn and do stuff after going out there to do. Because as at then, he was claiming that he wasn't sleeping with that elderly woman. Because this woman was in her 50s. She's old. But I knew they did have something, because even as at then, the woman said, "Oh, I want you in my family. If you can't marry me, marry my sister." You know how those
Oh.
people think. Yeah,
Ah,
that's what she said.
ah.
And the sister is not young as well. She's an older person. So he had to fight for his freedom. Like, no, I want babies. I want to get married. So eventually he said that she told him to go and marry a younger person that will give him babies, but she's still gonna be on the side, which he agreed to. And me coming on board, having to depend on him because of quitting my job and all of that, I suffered a lot for doing that, because I think that made him angrier that this is a country where
An extra mouth to feed, basically.
exactly, with income being
And you
cut
forgot to
short,
say all of his family members depending on him,
they
because you said
depend
every
on
time
him
he
as
gets his
well.
paycheck, I think there was an
But
analogy you gave that his under, like his singlet, which is like, I don't know what they call it, but that stuff guys wear under their clothes. Like, it was so thin, like he hardly buys anything for himself. All of his money just goes to his family and to the woman.
yeah, because that's another thing I was gonna say. When he was busy sending all those money, because he just became like a Santa Claus. You know, let them hack this, it would have sent it. Let them hack that, would have sent it. I was the one using my money to take care of the bills here, and he was busy, being the old daddy of Nigerian children,
Yeah,
as
Santa
I'll call
Claus.
it.
Yeah, Daddy
Exactly.
Warbucks.
So when I let go of my job, there's no way it's gonna be sending as much as it was, because he had to now take care of the bills here while I was staying at home. So that kind of made him to be mean more to me, because I had to
Mm,
quit my job. So it became more hell.
mm. So, Mr. James had a question for you.
Oh
She was
yeah.
like, "You're already married to this person, so you've got nothing to lose after all. Why didn't you raise a big alarm when you noticed? Because since it was using you to call yourself his sister, when you found out that you weren't the next of kin, why didn't you, I think what he means by that, why didn't you like say something? Why didn't you try to leave or things like that?"
You
And I think
know,
I think I asked you that
you asked
question.
that question too last night.
Yes.
We come from a country where you're not allowed to say something if you're going through something you're married. The culture of shame is a huge deal, and that's why one of the reasons why I'm doing this. You know, give people the opportunity to talk if they're in an unpleasant situation. But as at then, I just got married. It's unheard of. Like, just barely 2 weeks into the marriage, this red flag is coming up. And then, even if I had said something, they would have been like, "Oh, you are overthinking it. It may not be what it is, you know." You know how we are, I mean, Nigerians.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
you're overthinking this, you're that, you're that. So and that was how I talked to, like, if I said that to anybody, they would have told me that. So, okay, maybe I'm overthinking it. Let me just ask him and hear his side of the story, and whatever he says, maybe I can work with it. And when he explained the situation, I tried to reason with it. Okay, now you have this woman on the side. Why are you not letting her go? You need her for he needed her for his own benefit, because this woman, let her not hear that he doesn't have money. She's gonna send some money to him.
And you even saw some of the text messages between them. Like when he has a headache, he tells the woman, "You even know you live in the same
Exactly.
house.
I
You never
really
knew what was
know
going on with him."
he will not talk to me. I had to read it from text messages and emails coming to his phone that, oh, how are you doing? Is your headache now done? Have you gone to the hospital? And I'm like, you left home this morning. I didn't know this was wrong with you. How come she's knowing? She doesn't live with her. So that's the kind of relationship. So I think he just needed her as a sugar mommy. Let me just say that on the side, that'll be taking care of him and everything. And they did everything together. They
And
had
but
their
she's also more powerful because one word from her and he could have been kicked out from the country.
exactly, so they could have roped me into something that I know nothing about because of the status that she had. So and they were so close. Everything, health insurance, auto insurance, everything financial. They do everything together.
You
So I
were the
can't
other
blame
woman. You were like the intrusion.
them.
And you never
I
even
just came
signed up for
alone.
that. Yeah,
And
yeah.
another thing that I think is, he just needed me to give him babies, like the Nigerian woman that is young, that's gonna be popping babies for me on the side while I'm dealing with this other woman for my own financial
Yeah.
benefit. I don't know.
And I think there's something you told me that one time when you had like raised hell, like, I don't see you, you don't come home, yada yada yada. And what's with this woman? I think you said something like, at least I come home to you.
Yes, he told me that. Because another thing, he doesn't receive his mails where we live. The house we lived at then was rented in my name. He didn't want to have anything to do with me on paper in America. And that was another red flag. Because I'm thinking, okay, the purpose of me going to Nigeria to get married so that when we come back here, we'll have our registry and get things going and do the normal thing we're supposed to do. But he doesn't want to have anything that shows his name and mine together. So
Wow.
renting the house, he said, oh, this will help you to build your credit. That was what he said.
And you've been living in this country like, I don't know, maybe longer than him, but at least
I
considerably long enough.
have been. Because I came to this country in 2004. So, but I was just so clueless about so many things. I
You
was
were
naive.
sheltered. You were very sheltered.
I wasn't exposed at all. And I think my upbringing has something to do with that too. They were always, like I told you, I couldn't even go alone to Lagos by myself. Lagos is just like
That was like a
less
jungle.
than 2 hours to where I live. But I didn't tell you this. Though when I went to Nigeria in 2014, my dad still had my brother go with me to Lagos. It was like, this
Wow.
girl is just coming from America. She doesn't know anywhere in this country. Oh, follow her, follow her. I was going for a friend's event, and I was supposed to stay there for the weekend. My dad had my brother go with me. My brother had to stay in the hotel while I go for the event. And I'm like, really? So you can imagine that. So that's the kind of life I lived in the past, and that also came into that marriage. So I didn't know anything, and it was just whatever he tells me,
That you
I
did.
could go with. Yeah. So he said, let's rent this apartment in your name for you to build your credit, and I did that. So all that was in my name. The bills, everything, even though he was paying, but that was in my name.
It was in your name legally, so you're
Yeah.
responsible for that. Another thing was
Exactly.
also that his family never, they never really liked you, from your
That's
perception.
another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, because from what I perceived, they wanted a wife that would be doing the Nigerian wife kind of thing. You know how they'll be like, go to your in-laws' house, do the cooking, stay there for the weekend, the typical local Nigerian woman. And that wasn't me, because I left Nigeria when I was a teenager,
Yeah.
my formative years, really. So all I knew was here, apart from the little Nigerian ways that my parents taught me. Most of my developing was done here. So when they said that, I was like, that's not me. I mean, if I would come to Nigeria, I would rather pay for somebody to do that. If you have an event going on, rather than me come there and be cooking and slaving and all of that. So they didn't like me because of the way I was, like, oh, this Oyinbo wife that my brother went and married. So that was a disadvantage as well. Even though I tried to be close to them, but no. And another thing, they thought, oh, I was shielding him from sending them money as well. Because I
Yeah.
was thinking, like,
You were
you've
you
been
were
living.
you were reducing their ration because you were an extra amount
Exactly.
to feed.
And another thing, because I said, you've been living like that before I met you. Now that you're married, prepare for your own future. You're going to start having children. Have, like, they're going to go to school. This is America. Plan your life. So, and he, in one of his outbursts to them, he was like, now I'm a married woman. I have to live for myself as well. I want to have children. Nobody should call me again. So they knew, like,
It
okay,
was
because
from you.
exactly, you will know somebody, like, this is not who he was before this. And when your person starts to misbehave, you know there's an influence there. So they knew maybe I'm the one beating the drum under. So yeah, they didn't like me.
Wow. And another, so the parents weren't there, and then even his church, the church he went was his church, and they were biased towards him. And this is very important to them because something happened down the line, and for a moment it felt like nobody believed Morin's story. Like it's like, this can't be happening to you. And
Yeah.
just to say something else, like he broke her down really mentally to a time where she had to be dependent on him. And
Yeah.
Morin had been in this country since 2004. I just said like that's a long time to be here. Like, and you're gonna hear Maureen's story on another episode where we talked about her experience moving to the US. She's been through a lot. The moment she landed in the US, she went through a whole lot. So it's not as if she's like a spring chicken. And
No.
so he broke her down to the point where someone that was hustling, that was by herself, like, making rent and being able to pay her bills, and then when she gets married, like everything she's learned, she just nothing. And so we have to be very careful. We'll be like, well, what happened? Well, no, it's just
Because I was thriving where I came from. I was so used
exactly.
to that environment. I lived in a town home, paying my rent, doing whatever I had to do, and they just uprooted me from there. With
From
this
there, and you have
Nigerian
to start
thing.
again, and
Yeah,
all of
with
the
this
abuse and all
Nigerian
of
thing.
that.
Like, oh,
Yes,
it's the wife that moves to the husband. Says who?
I know. Tradition is just peer pressure from dead people.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Honestly, we need to
yeah,
change this tradition then. Because
we
they were
need
like,
to.
oh, yeah, the wife has to move to the husband. It's not the husband moving to the wife. And I was like, it's easier for him to move to where I was. He could have gotten another job. I wouldn't have, even if I would have been in that situation, it
Yeah.
would have been minimized,
See,
the consequences.
Maureen, I think that if this guy had even moved to you, based on just how much hold he had on you, he probably would have like excommunicated your friends. He would have just sequestered you, and even
Not
though he
to see
wasn't
them
like
again.
yeah, yeah, like it would have made it a little bit worse because people that knew before, like Maureen Okinko, Maureen doesn't call us. We don't know what's happening with Maureen. Like you could have just gone cold turkey on everybody. Now,
But I would have had options too, though, like
okay, probably
leave the house to be with my friends
your
or sleep
friends and
over,
all of that,
rather than
yeah,
staying in that
by
same house and
yourself.
he's the one living and I'm crying, waiting on
Yeah,
him to come
yeah.
back days and days and days. So yeah.
So Maureen talked about her family structure, just how really close and tight knit they were. Even when all of this was happening, she confided in her mom, and of
Yeah.
course her siblings got to hear about it. But I asked her like, why didn't any one of them just tell you like to leave? And she was like, they just kept praying about it. Like they didn't think divorce was an option because
Another thing that was
God
going
hates
on,
divorce. Mm.
I had nowhere to go. Nobody. Even though I have cousins and aunties here, everybody's in their own space, in other states. I believed I had nowhere to go. I was by myself and I have to struggle this out. So if I just up and leave, where am I leaving to? Am I gonna sleep on the street?
And that's a trap right there because you
Yeah,
didn't know, even though now you know, there's so many social services that are available
that
for
could have
you,
explored.
like
Yeah.
women's shelter, even some other churches. But I think when you're in that situation where you're like a soldier that is manning all kinds of fronts, you get worn out. I mean, your identity is being stripped away slowly, and so what is left of you is just a mirror of the person you were. So there's not enough excavation in your brain to like think about, oh, what are my other options?
I
It's like
wasn't thinking right.
exactly. And how about your friends, like people that are around you? Like, did you have friends that could
I
help
didn't
you?
have friends, or other than the people at my church, and they are way older than me. I was just 26, and I just called them auntie, auntie, auntie. And it's not really. I mean, they are not the kind of people I can easily relate with on my level. I remember calling one of our friends, Olumide, when I was having this sexual problem. Then, like, oh, okay, you're married to somebody and they're not having sexual relation with you. Is it
What to
normal?
do?
How can
Yeah.
I do? I remember I was also a virgin. I wasn't exposed. I didn't even know how to have sex. Let's just say that. So that was another issue in that marriage because he didn't enjoy sex with me. And I believe in a loving relationship, you could help somebody navigate through stuff. Like, okay, I know you're new
Teach
to this.
them. Yeah, you teach yourself. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I had to call Olumide then, to ask advice, like, and she had to teach me, like, you're a married woman, you have to do this, you have to do that. So that was the only time I remember ever calling somebody to share something with them.
Mm,
I
mm.
didn't call anybody to explain what I was
So I guess that boils down to your personality as well. Yeah, and I think that's for the most part, your family, given how just close you guys were, you guys were enough for each other up until that point. So there was no need to like
Exactly.
keep talking.
To bring an outsider. Plus the fact that everyone is married. I also think it would be a shameful thing to say that I'm going through this in my marriage. I mean, now you see it everywhere. People drawing support from one another, going through the same situation that they're going through. And it's like everybody just needed to be quiet. You can't talk about what you're going through. You have to paint this picture of perfect situation.
Yeah. That's so true. That's so true. Like when we use word like God hates divorce, like divorce is a lie from the devil. Fine, God hates divorce, but if you're in a place where um when you're not, I mean, in that situation where it seems like on both ends, like there wasn't like progress, spiritual in every sense of the word, then are you sure you should? I mean, unless both of you are actively seeking towards that point of, okay, we're broken people, we both acknowledge our, missteps, let's work together. It's hard for you to just keep going on being pummeled by that level of abuse. And I always just say that when I talk to friends like this with these issues, like I'm not trying to break your marriage. I'm not gonna say divorce this person, but let's work on you first. Work on you. And I think most times people don't even have that bravery to like speak up and be like, here's my situation. Because we feel like we can't trust other people. But I'm like, we can't all just be going like, I can't trust people, I can't talk to people. Find a stranger to talk to. Let them just hear what you're going through, because you realize that a lot of these things you keep inside and it's weighing you down. By the time you even talk to somebody, even if it's somebody that is, that might not even give you the good advice, just saying out there, proclaiming like, and then you realize that, okay, I feel just a little bit better, but it's at least a little bit better than what I was like before then. So yeah. And then something happened. You guys had like a scuffle at home, and then the cops were called.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, have you seen the Diary of a Black Man?
Yeah, Tyler Perry. Yeah, that was you.
that was me.
Except this guy is here to break his legs.
That was me in a way. Because after going through this whole thing, I had to evaluate what I did wrong. And the only thing I know that I did wrong was getting angry. Other than that, I didn't do anything wrong in that marriage. I tried everything possible to make it work. Even to the point that I lost my dignity for this guy. Like, he was just treating me like trash. And I'll still be begging, crying, like, let's just make this work, let's just make this work, no matter what. Because, like I said, that was an achievement for me. And I valued it a lot. And it became my identity as well, because I held it so dear to my heart. Like, for me to do this, I'm not letting it go. So I was ready to do anything and everything. And when we had this argument, it was about that same woman as well, because I've had enough. I just kept thinking about it, like, okay, we went to Nigeria to get married. We came back here, we're supposed to do the registry. You did not do it. And then I started seeing all these text messages on your phone, because I knew his password then, but it wasn't aware. So I was always looking around, checking stuff, who he was sending the money to. And I later got to find out that he was having another relationship on Facebook with a lady in Nigeria. So, and he was looking to marry her.
And this one, his family supports this one. Like, she will go to their house, cook for them. She was like the wife they wanted.
Exactly. I found out she had a sleepover, at the house. They endorsed her. So, and I'm like, my head was just going like that. Like, you're in this current relationship that is not working, and you're planning to take on another wife? Really? So and he was always sending money to her, and hardly would he give me $20 here. And I would still be crying, begging. So I've had enough. I've gone crazy to the maximum that I just exploded. So when we had that altercation, I'm just hiding. And he was trying to leave the house that day, but I wouldn't let him, because I was like, you have to stay. We have to hire on this house. You're not going anywhere. So we started struggling. And eventually when I saw that, okay, this could lead somewhere that we don't want it to.
Yeah.
I tried picking my car key, and I said I was leaving. I'm done. I'm going. Even though I had nowhere to go, but I said I was going. But maybe he thought he was the one that brought me to that state. He was responsible for me. And if I go somewhere, he may not know where I'm going. So he snatched the key from me and kept it in his pocket. And I tried to reach in his pocket, struggling to get that key. Like, okay, I'm leaving. Give me the key. So as we were struggling, he held down my hand in his pocket because he didn't want me to get the key. And in the process, he hurt my hand. And when he did, I started shouting like, "Oh, you just hurt me, you just hurt me. Let my hand go, let my hand go." But he still wouldn't. So I said, "Oh, I'm going to call the cops on you. Are you trying to kill me?" And I was just saying that just to protect myself, because I believe we're Nigerians. Even if we'll fight ourselves and do stuff, you shouldn't get to the point of calling the cops. This is America. You may think, "Oh, I'm just trying to scare this person." But they will take it far.
Yeah.
And they will even take the case from you and start fighting your case on your behalf. So I just said that to scare him. But he thought I probably would act up on it because I had gone to the room shouting and crying, "Oh, you just hurt me. I'm going to call the cops on you." And I did not. The next thing I heard, the only thing I went to do in the room was to pick my phone and call my mom in Nigeria. But this was like around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. on Sunday at the time. So I had gone to pick my phone to call my mom, telling her this is what is going on. But maybe he thought I was calling the cops. I don't know. But eventually, anyway, he picked his phone and called the cops. And I heard him saying on the phone that, "Oh, I need you guys to come right now. My wife is crazy. My wife is crazy." And the person on the other hand was saying, "Oh, sir, are you okay? Are you in any danger? Does she have a weapon?" And he said, "No, but I need you guys to come right now. Or she's going crazy. She's going crazy." And then with because my mom was on the phone, I put her on speaker. She was hearing everything too. She was like, "Oh, Bayo, please, what is going on, my dear? Let's settle this whole thing. What do you mean your wife is crazy?" He would not talk to her. He just said, "I will show you today." And I was like, I just started laughing hysterically like somebody that was crazy too, really, because I was like, "Really, I'm crazy? What do you mean I'm crazy? Am I here to strangle you, or do I have a knife or anything?" But to cut the long story short, the cops came. And, in the process of struggling to get my car key from his pocket tore on the same line, or on the side of his pocket, on the right side. So when the cop came and went to talk to him, they were like, "Who called the cops?" He said it was the one. So they said, "Oh, sir, what's going on?" And then he said, "We're fighting, and then she did this." So immediately they saw that. The cop just said, "Oh, come on." So as they were coming to me, till today, I did not have an opportunity to talk. Because immediately they came to me, one of the cops just said, "You're going to jail." And I'm like, "What do you mean I'm going to jail? I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't hurt him." He said, "You just assaulted a man." And I said, "Sir, I didn't do anything. Can I just explain my situation?" I was like, "Ma'am, can you keep quiet right now?" And they just handcuffed me. Yeah. And I was whipped away. And as I was going, I started crying and I looked into his eyes. I was like, "Bayo, are you really gonna do this? What did I do wrong? Is it a crime that I loved and married you? What did I do wrong?" So he now said, "Oh, excuse me, sir, can you not take my wife away?" That was the next thing he said. And the cop was like, "You called us. We have to make an arrest. Is it that we take you or we take her? Somebody needs to go with us tonight." And of course, he can't love me more than himself. So they had to take me, and I went with them. Yeah. So I was arrested and put in detention. And while I was there, I didn't know what to do because the judge had presided over my case and they said I was going to pay a bond. I had no clue. I mean, I have never done anything wrong in America. I've always lived a righteous life per se, live my life by the books and everything. So when they brought the paper that I have to make a deal with the bonding company to be able to get a bail and leave in the morning, I had no idea what I was supposed to do. So I was just right there. I saw people making phone calls, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I was just sitting there staring into space like, "God, why am I here? I'm not supposed to be here." So eventually, by the morning, almost everybody was gone.
Because they could make bail. You didn't know anything about that.
I had no clue. And what was my offense? I didn't even do anything. I could easily make bail and go home. But I was clueless. I had no idea. So I was just sitting right there. And when the morning came, people changed shifts and everything. I was still staring. I just said, "They gave me this paper. I'm not supposed to be here." The woman was like, "I don't know. You just have to wait until they call you." I didn't know what to do. So eventually, these guys came to get the remaining of us, and they put us in their car. What do they call the car? What do they call it in Nigeria, sir? You are
Say
there,
Black
but you
Maria.
cannot see the outside world.
Yeah, I think say Black Maria. I don't know. But I think
Yeah,
that's for like hardened
something like that.
criminals. Yeah.
Because I had no clue where I was after that, after leaving detention. That was it. Till today, I don't even know where that prison was. Like, I can't find my way there, if at all. So they put us in that car and they whisked us away. And everything was just like a dream to me. From 1 minute fighting at home that somebody is cheating on you, to getting the cops called, and to you being detained and then going a 1-day prison per se, if I'm allowed to say that. So, they whisked me away, and then I got to that prison, and of course, they gave me their uniform, took away my stuff. I remember the last call I placed was to my mom, telling her that this guy had called the cop, and I don't know what's going on. So everyone has been worried in Nigeria because they couldn't reach me after then. My phone was taken away from me. I mean, that was just it. So everyone was worried. He was not picking their call. They didn't know what was going on. And I got there. They gave me their uniform. I wore it, and I was taken away. That was the worst and the lowest point in my life, because not for any reason should anybody go to jail. Like, don't do crime. Let me just say that. It's not a place for anybody to be. I've experienced it, and it's not fun. So even though it's for maybe a day or two, but it's not fun. So I went there, and
But still, it's like I can't even
it
imagine the thought
it
that was going
really
on in your head.
traumatized me. It really did. I remember the last meal I had has been from that Sunday afternoon. So it's like I was doing marathon fasting after work, because I just couldn't explain it. All I was just saying is, God, deliver me from this. How I got myself into this, I have no idea. I'm proud to that. I've been having dreams of being arrested, and I just couldn't put it together. Consistently, these dreams came, with a little variation. But all I did was just to pray this, oh God, I rebuke it in Jesus' name. This is not me. Then I searched through my life. What was I doing wrong? I wasn't doing anything illegal. I have no business with the cop, So I just waved it off like that, not knowing that it was actually going to happen. I was going to be arrested. So, I was there in that prison, and then people were talking about what brought them there, and of course, women. Some of them are there that they have no hope. They already know we are in this because we killed somebody, because we did drugs, because, for good case, so that can make somebody go to jail. So when they asked me what mine was, I said, I tore somebody's pocket. So, and the next one of them said is, girl, when I leave here, I'm going to make sure I track that guy.
Give me his address.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
like,
fix him real up.
I'm going to fight on your behalf. Because they all were crying. They were like, you're not supposed to be here. You don't look like the kind of person that will be, this innocent look. And I mean, they knew they did something wrong is why they were there. So you being there, and they're like, you didn't even do anything. Why are you here? But I just can't explain it. And then I saw people making calls, and I tried, because, from prison, you can only do a collect call. You have no access to anything. I don't have money. I don't have nothing. So I placed a collect call to somebody in North Carolina as a then. Because, I just lost touch with everybody. Nobody knew what I was going through, what was going on. Everybody thought, okay, this girl is married. She's fine. But when I placed that call, I just needed somebody to help me, because I don't know what else to do. So I placed that collect call to her. And when she got the call, the call will tell you to say your name so that the person will accept from their side and pay for the call. So when I called her and I said my name, she thought it was a scam. Like, Morin can't be in Tennessee County jail or whatever. What would she be doing there? So she didn't believe I could cover, even though I said my name. So she hung up the call. And and I kept calling. I think I did call 3 to 4 times, and she did not pick. So I started crying like, my own has finished. Or who will rescue me from here? Because nobody could believe I would ever be there with the kind of way that I had lived my life and that I was living my life. So I was stuck. And the only thing I could just say is, God, all hope is lost at this moment. But 11th hour miracle was needed at that point. And that's one of the times that I knew that if people are saying God is not real, God is very much real. Because when all hope is lost, that you feel you've reached your wit's end, there's nothing else to do, it will definitely show up. And I saw him in action that day. Like I said, people were making collect calls, but I went to talk to one of their warders because the girls were misbehaving that day. Oh, Talani, you've left. I don't know if people are still here. Sorry, guys. Talani is gone. I don't know if she's still here, but hello, Tony. Your camera is gone. Yeah, hello, Tolani. I can't see you again. Your camera is gone. I'm sorry, guys. She's trying to join. I don't know. Tolani. Hello. Hello, Tolani. Tolani, I can't see you. Hello. Tolani. She will reconnect. No, I don't know. She's not here anymore.
No, my computer just started to do it was restarting.
Oh, okay, she's back. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, it was my fault. My computer was restarting. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry. So 11th hour miracle. Hello. Oh, you're muted. Hold on.
Okay, I'm back on. No, I'm back on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so 11th hour miracle.
So, some of the girls had misbehaved and they put them on lockdown. Everywhere was dead. I mean, like silent.
Okay,
so
hold on. My camera? Oh, hold on.
You're back on.
Okay. All right, let's go on. I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So, anyway, we came back on like after 5 minutes because that was when I saw people being treated like animals. I was just in one corner watching, trying to say, God, I know I'm not supposed to be here. Just get me out by all means possible. So anyway, to cut the long story short, like I said, people were making collect calls. I had to go and now talk to one of the warders, like, please, I'm not supposed to be here. I was supposed to have been gone since morning, but I'm still here because I don't know what to do. Can you just help me? Place a call from your cell phone or from the office so that I can reach somebody because nobody's picking my collect call. And this man was like, no, that's illegal. I can't let you do that. Just do it like your mates are doing. But I was right there crying. And fortunately for me, one of their bosses, she was supposed to have gone. I don't know what she forget. Maybe it was God that brought her back. She saw me crying and then she told them to call me to come into the office. So I went in to meet with her and she said, what is the problem with you? And I told her I wasn't supposed to be there. They said I was cleared to be bailed, but why I'm still here, I don't know because I don't know the process to get myself out of this. Can I just make a call to somebody? Maybe I can get through to them because my collect calls are not being picked. People did not expect I was gonna be here. That's not me, And then she looked at me, she said, oh, so you are a first-time offender. I said, I'm what you would call that because I never committed any crime in my life. So she said, okay. And she placed the call. She said, I'm only gonna do this. I don't know why I'm doing it, but I'm just gonna do it. Because like I said, they are not allowed to do that. So she
From their
placed
own
the call.
personal phone call. They're not supposed to use their
Yeah.
personal phone
So
to
I
make phone
felt
calls.
maybe she just had pity on my life, and it's God at work as well. So she called from her office, and I called my pastor at Dan, that mommy, help me out. I'm still here. And the next thing she said was, Esther, so you are there. You like all the issues you guys have been having, it's gotten to that point. And I said, well, I'm here. I don't know what to do. Then she said, have you heard from your husband? I said, no, I don't know his
So he
whereabouts.
wasn't trying to. He wasn't trying to find out where you were. He wasn't trying to
I had because I was not allowed to get in contact with him
But
anymore
he
as at
could
the
at least
time
he
that
could
he did.
call the police station around to find out where you were taken. I mean, even though you couldn't have contact with him, he
I
had the
had
power. You know what I mean?
I had no idea, and I was trying to be careful because I didn't know what I was gonna do wrong. That we had more to what I was
I
going
see, I
through,
see, I see, I
So
see.
I was just trying to be
Plus,
careful.
being in jail, that's
Exactly.
like,
That's the worst you can ever
yeah,
imagine.
yeah.
Never in a million years would I have thought I would go through that. So I was just trying to be careful. Like before they go and increase my sentence, I don't know what I did wrong. So I was trying to shoot myself in a way. So I called her and she said, oh, she will do something. And then she called another church member who I was so close to as a then, him and his wife, to let them know the situation. And then they got in touch with my husband then. And eventually, he came and got me out. He came actually. And I remember sitting in his car because I just couldn't explain it. I didn't know what to say. I was just right there, and as I remember the experience, I broke down the more because it's like, this is somebody that you love so much. You gave everything. I practically lost myself for this guy. I had no identity other than their marriage as a then. So I valued it a lot and I was ready to do everything and anything. And I remember, another thing when I was trying to have babies for him because he had low sperm count. I remember going through different
IVF,
routes,
yeah.
getting injection upon injection to get my body ready to have his sperm inserted because they said they had to do some process. Like I said, I
To
had
boost
no
the
clue
sperm count,
about
yeah.
IVF and stuff, but he was always telling people I was the one with the problem because I was in school. I was not ready to have babies. It didn't come out straight to them. And I had told him then, like, even if you don't have any sperm, you will get, I will have my baby. That's how radical I was in my faith. Like, I will have babies. People without womb,
With that.
they get pregnant and have babies. So I was ready until the script flipped. And the time I was gonna go do the IVF with the sperm, the doctor had to tell me they were gonna use somebody else's sperm. And I said, what is going on? That was not the agreement. We agreed you were gonna use my husband's sperm. How come? And the whole story flipped and I refused. So that now make it a final straw for this whole thing, coupled with the fact that after I had came back from jail, he still now was not comfortable with me anymore because I was just quiet in the house. Everything was still like a movie. Like somebody should wake me up from this whole thing going on. So I was always quiet, staring into space. I had become a shadow of myself. And I remember each time that he would sleep and I passed by him, the way he would jump up from his sleep, like I was about to strangle him or something. So I
So he
think
was
it was,
feeling guilty about it. Like he didn't know what you were gonna do.
and the only conversation I had with him after that event was, let's start all over. Imagine, after coming back from jail, I said, let's forget about all these things that had happened. Even you sending me to where you did, I forgive you. Let's start all over. Make a slate.
Clean slate,
Yeah.
yeah.
I said, even though it's hurtful, but how do you fight somebody that you call your
Your
other self?
husband, yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like you quarreling with
Fighting
yourself.
yourself. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
said, it's really hard, but I'm not going to hold this against you. And I said, spirituality may have played a part in it as well. I'm not going to rule that out. Maybe some village people were fighting me there. I have no idea. So I'm not going to count this. They used you because so many times he would tell me that looking at me, he always see an older person, an old woman
Yeah,
on my
you said
face.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
this young, pretty face, you are seeing an old woman. Village people are really working on my case. So,
All right.
so I didn't blame him for that. I was ready, to start afresh, but it wasn't comfortable because I remember him saying, you don't go to court and come back and be friends. And I'm like, what is
What
this
does
thing
that mean?
with
Yeah.
Nigerian stuff? You don't go to court and come back being friends.
So
Like, the
basically, you wanted to
relationship
start
is
afresh.
never,
You came out, with clean gloves, but
he was not ready.
he
Yeah.
wasn't ready, and he was never trusting. So, because I want us to, we need to round off quickly, but I want us to talk about, your husband, the love of your life,
Oh,
really
Lord.
your relationship.
Don't
So
put
we
me
need to
out
stop
there.
this. No, no, we're not gonna put you out, not in that kind of way. But I think what happened was final. You guys went for a birthday party somewhere in North Carolina or somewhere.
Yes. So even
And
after I had planned to start a new slate, I was already doing okay again, but it wasn't comfortable. But it gave me the idea that we were fine. And I told him, okay, this lady that had called in North Carolina for help while I was where I was, or her daughter was gonna have a birthday. So I said, let's go there. Let's just change environment. Maybe we will be fine. See something new and try to reconnect. So he said, okay, we'll go. So we plan to go for that weekend, from Friday and come back on Sunday. And I only packed for the weekend to leave. And we left to go there. So when we got there, these people brought out, because after I had came back, I called that lady like, why were you not picking my call? Blah, blah, blah. I had to tell her what had happened. So now she became aware. So when we got to her, she started talking to him that you shouldn't have done that to your wife.
wife and all that, yeah.
Hey, we are Nigerians, we are this, we are that. Maybe he felt they blamed him. I have no idea. But all I knew was we were there for that weekend. And on Sunday that we were supposed to go to church for that little girl's birthday party, he was not dressed. He didn't even have a shower. And I said, we are in somebody's house. They have to lock their house. We are going to church. Let's go now. He said, oh, he will come back and take his bath, but he needs to quickly go to the ATM and withdraw some money that he will give in church as an offering. And I said, okay, hurry up and go. And that was the last I saw of him up until today. He just ghosted me like that.
So, and this is very important because I put this question on the Facebook page. Like, I think one of the questions Morin keeps grasping with is, why did he ghost me? Like,
Yeah,
it's almost like there was no closure.
there was not.
And I know some of us might be quick to say, why is she still thinking about that? No. We might probably never get the answers to that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also very important to know that in her current relationship right now, she feels safe, she feels secure. She
Oh,
can
yeah.
see the difference between, um, even though sometimes, she might the whole, the old way might come up like, but she knows that she's safe. She knows that she's in a loving relationship. But I think that question of why was I ghosted? Why didn't I even have like, I'm leaving you, this is the end of our marriage? It
Like
was just
even a
like
text
nothing.
message would have been good for me.
Yeah, nothing. And this is not even like a boyfriend girlfriend situationship. No,
A
this is
whole
someone that you got
husband, though.
married. Yeah, and so you started like when you started dating. And if you have any response to that, for those that are listening, please let us
Yes,
know
if
in
you
the
can help
comments.
me out, that
This
will
is the
really be
biggest thing you
helpful.
can do for more. Like I have thought about it because I don't have the right words, and I don't think I always have the right responses to
Because
say.
me doing this, the conclusion I just gave myself is I'm gonna put a closure to it today by doing this and let go finally.
Yes,
Because
let's
the answer
help.
I'm looking for, I may never get it, and I
Yeah,
don't want that to keep affecting me or affecting my current marriage because this man
yeah,
doesn't deserve it. I
yeah,
shouldn't be holding on to what's not. Not that I'm having any feeling for the past, but
yeah.
the fact that the worst way to dump somebody is ghosting them. Nobody deserves that. No, not even a boyfriend girlfriend thing. Not to talk of a whole marriage, a whole husband, though, ghosting you. And up until today, that's been like how many years now? 9 years.
It's been 9 years.
Yeah.
So if anybody has a response to this, like how can she find closure? And also take into consideration like she's safe now, she's good, she's in a
Oh
loving
yes, I
relationship.
am.
And on
Yep.
top of that, and I think another thing we talked about is that at a point during her relationship with her husband, let's call him Baby because it's a cute name with Baby. she realized that a lot of trust issues were welling up, and she became like almost the toxic one in the relationship because
Yeah.
she
Oh
started,
yeah.
like just because your experience with marital love was from this other horrible buyer, and so
Mhm.
everything was filtered through that lens, and she wasn't really, you know, she wasn't trusting enough. And I think
Yeah.
that there's something you said that your husband said, and I never forgot that. He said, when something is broken, we fix it. We don't throw
We
it
don't
away.
throw it away. Yeah.
And even talking about it now, it's giving me ghost pimples
Goosebumps.
because, yeah, because that, I mean, that's a man right there. Like acknowledging that the fact that this person was hurt, but then together we can feel. Not that he's not broken in other areas, but at
Yeah.
least at that particular point, it's like I'm here for you. And what reassuring words. And I think you just tell yourself that okay, if I had to go through all of this to get this person that God really wanted me to be with, then it's worth it.
It is worth it.
Yeah.
Even though the experience wasn't fun as a damn, but I'm glad it didn't work out and I'm where I am right now because my husband now is everything I've ever dreamed of. Like everything. Uh no marriage is perfect like they say, but not in behavioral ways. No. It could be, not being perfect in other little areas and it's nothing you can work through. But behaviorally is really perfect for me.
And
With
that's good because
mindset, with
we're
everything.
not like we're strangers when we get married. We didn't grow up with them. So
Mhm.
behavioral issues will come up.
Oh
Like
yeah.
at least you talk through it, you set your boundaries, you know the person's temperament. And I think that's what a healthy marriage should be like. At least you can talk, we can have conversations.
Oh yeah, and transparency is another thing that is helping me in this marriage. Like my husband and I, we don't keep secrets. We
Mm.
tell everything and anything, like the deepest of all things, the fears that we're going through. We all have these hidden phobias and fears and all that. Things that you would think, oh, if I share with this person, maybe
They'll
I
leave
will not
you.
have a
Yeah.
marriage tomorrow, or this person. And the fact that I don't know, let's just say because it's mine, because the responses it will give, I will even be shocked, like, what manner of love is this one? But then I guess I deserve it
Did
because
you did you did you come to a point where you felt like this is too much? Like you were even doubting his
I
because it
was
was that.
doubting him. I was like, this is too good to be true. I hope this guy is not coming to find me the second time. Oh yeah, I was. And as at then, I was always throwing the divorce card at him every now and then because I
Yeah.
was being insecure, like, okay, this is too good to be true. Am I safe like this? So any little thing, I'll be like, I'm done with this thing. I'm divorcing you. I'm done. I'm done. So that now started giving him two issues. Like, I hope this girl will not just wake up and walk away and I will not see her again. So he had to call me. I don't want to hear that divorce word in this house again. If there's a problem, we'll fix it. We will not throw it away. I mean, this thing for a long haul. So, and that was the last time I ever said it too. I had to just call myself to order, like, girl, you cannot say that word again in this house. So yeah.
Yeah. And I must commend you really, Morin. Like the growth I've seen in you. I remember that first time we talked
Oh
about it on
yeah.
the phone. Like I cried a lot then because it was just, I didn't know you were going through all of that. And then when you told me, I was like, how? Like, how? To see how much you've come and just the
Yeah.
joy in your life. And I know it has to be God because if
Yeah.
you were to think about everything you've gone through, people haven't even gone through
Girl.
half of that. Their hearts will literally break and they
Yep.
have to be sent to a facility where they'll be invalid for life. So we credit
Yeah.
God for preserving you. And I also want to credit your tenacity for fighting back, for not giving up on yourself, not giving up on hope, not giving up on love, for knowing that okay, I do deserve to be loved. Fine, I rushed into this, or I marriage was like an identity I had tied to myself, but I'm
As a
gonna do it better now. So I want to commend you, Mara, really.
yeah.
And I think that's why your story is really inspirational. So for those that are listening, like if you find yourself in something similar to what Morin situations was, it's never too late to turn it around. Someone in a toxic relationship, in a very um negative
Mhm.
environment, what it does to, even though there might not be physical abuse,
It
emotional abuse
messes
is
up your
very
mind.
horrible because you don't see the scars, but they run very deep and it's attached to every, like your identity, who you were, it stains everything. So you need to
Mhm.
find a way to separate yourself. Now, I'm not advocating for divorce. This is not a platform for that. I'm not an expert in marital issues, but find ways to, like, at least separate yourself for the time being and surround yourself with people that can build you back up so you can be able to make informed decisions. Because if you're always going to be in that environment, you're going to keep getting broken down until there's nothing left of you. Now, Morin, Zainab had a question for you. She said, "Hello, Mo and Mo. I didn't realize our names are Mo and Mo." She said she's curious to know what your ex's family reaction was.
After the divorce,
Yes. Well, whatever. In fact, the divorce, that one's another story. But
I
yes,
did not hear from them. Mm-mm.
she never heard from them. That's just, And then, oh, Morin, we're getting response. Let me read them to you.
Oh,
Ojo
thank you,
Bukola
guys.
Olasheni said, "I think you should count yourself as the luckiest one for him to have walked out of your life and allowing you to meet the love of your life. This is how awesome God works."
Yeah.
I think we should think about it that way because it doesn't really make sense. And I know you're always gonna keep having those lingering emotions, and maybe might even affect just maybe you can start having abandonment issues. But know that even love here, like spousal love, is never gonna be enough. God's love is the ultimate, and God will never leave us. Our earthly husbands, yeah, they're good, but even though they have shortcomings like we do, and sometimes they do fail us in several areas, but God is that one thing that will never walk away from us. Maybe we should just put God like His love should be
Up
like
there.
that bar, and then together our spouse, we're attempting to perfect that love, and we probably will not get to the bar, but we'll get closer to it. Now, Shantae, thank you, Shantae. She said, "I think ghosting has to do more with his character than anything. It was a cowardly move. He didn't know how to be a man and face his own issues, so he decided to run and avoid. But I'm so glad God brought a good man into your life."
Thank God.
Yes. So I think we should just think of it that way. He was a coward, and that's just it. It didn't have anything to do with you because you know that you go back, you look into that relationship. Even though you said anger was the only thing you have, sister,
Oh
anger
yeah.
can be quite
I was
because
extremely
our
angry.
mouth as women.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, Lord Jesus, baptize me again with my mouth. I know that when we're really hot, we can say things, so that can be quite, But let's
well,
just
that's
hold
part
that
of it.
into
Yeah.
account. Yeah, let's hold that into account. So Zena wanted to ask, how was the divorce process? Did you see him in court? Did you ever ask why? No,
No.
no. There was
That
no.
walking out was the last I ever saw him
She
since
hasn't seen him
9 years
since
ago.
2009, 2010. Yeah, there was never a
2010.
court session. In fact, even the divorce
It,
was so shady. I don't think because
yeah.
he kept avoiding it. He wanted her to like
Say it
initiate it.
first.
Yes, because he said he was Christian, and I'm thinking,
And divorce is a sin,
yeah, he did say that
As
divorce is a
born
sin.
again Christians, you
So
can't
is
divorce.
adultery and abuse and all of that, but we're not gonna talk about that, right? Just the D word. So no, she never had a
He
day
didn't
in
want the
court.
fault to come from him.
Yeah, she never had a day in court. She never had a way to like face,
No,
her
it
offender. She
was not
never did
contested.
that. So I think that also adds to the fact that there was no closure. I'm sure if they had met in court and she had said her
I would have asked questions. Yeah.
yes, but she never. And I think it's almost that question. And I think Maureen, let me just say this, and let me know if I'm out of line. I don't think you even need. I don't think you need. His words shouldn't mean anything to you anymore because everything he told you was a lie. So whatever
From
he's
day
gonna tell,
one.
yeah, from day one, it was based on a lie. So I don't think his words should count. I mean, and I'm glad that you have your husband now, where you guys can talk about stuff. So
Honestly.
what's it gonna tell you that will change your life radically? His words will never
Mm-mm.
be enough, and let
No.
him just be stuck in that past. Like I hope with time you probably will never have to remember him again, or if you do, you just send prayers his way. And I'll say that's why you're a bigger person than me, because I'm praying for that guy. I'll be praying for sure, but it's gonna
I
be
told
different
you
kind of
the last
prayers.
time he called me, right? When I lost my
When your
dad in
dad died, yeah,
2015. I
yeah.
was even trying to help him because he said he wanted to bring his mom to the US and he didn't know how to do it. So I was like, okay, when you're ready, just let me know. I'll put you through it. You know? And when he
And
wanted
then
to
he was
start
saying
talking about the
that what
marriage,
happened
I
with our
wasn't ready to
marriage.
listen.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't think you need his words. I think from this point on, I think because I mean I had that inclination as well, but I'm glad that people on the page are saying the same thing as well. He was a coward, and cowards are always gonna do what cowards do.
I
Yeah.
guess.
Someone said, "Was your bride price returned?" You have really amazing friends.
We are not, we are Yoruba people.
Don't work, father. Yeah, yeah. And then Joe Bukola wanted to know that was not even on social media, was able to contact you on social media.
No, he
Yeah.
just went out of radar. I can't. There's
Yeah,
nowhere I can find him.
yeah. I think the last question I want to ask is that if you could go back in time, I mean,
What
because
would I have done differently?
you had a role to play in this. I'm not
Oh
gonna
yeah.
indulge and be like, everything happened to you. So
Mm.
like I think we've talked about that, being sheltered, not like using that marriage became like an identity for you. All those things added to that,
Mm.
but it enabled it. It didn't cause it. It just enabled it because you found somebody that took advantage of you. Because those
Yeah,
kind of
big
things, if you
time.
found somebody that was really mature enough and honest with you and just had your interest at heart, they could protect you and even help you grow into that process. So those were enabling situations and maybe a little bit of causative, but it's not like explaining the whole thing that happened to you. So that's your responsibility in that regard. But if you could go back in time and do something differently, like think about Morin then, Morin of 2004.
Oh,
You
how
know,
Maury now?
what would you have done differently to make sure that this doesn't happen? And I'm asking that not just because to put you on the spot, but for those that
I
might be
mean,
listening as well.
we're saying what would have done differently. I can say that to help other people, not necessarily for me at this point, because that experience that I went through now made me an advocate for women. I mean,
Okay.
I can tell you the women I've fought for in their marriages. I've even sheltered them in my home. I took them in. They were being abused by their husband. I don't even know that I have this lawyer thing inside me. Oh. I almost sent a guy to jail 2 years ago because he was abusing his wife, and I became an advocate for her. Like that's how smart I am right now with that experience because I just don't want to see any woman
And you
go
know the
through what I
system
went through.
better. You know the system
Oh
better.
yeah, right now you better don't mess with somebody that I know, or you tell me I have somebody that's going through something. I'm gonna carry that case on my head like it's mine. And I've done it for a few women this past years, and I'm grateful, because now it's a cause for me. If I had not gone through that, maybe I wouldn't have been able to identify with what they're going through, you know. So, but to help other people out there, I would say what I wish I would have done differently is to know him more, because like
Yes.
I said, I never visited him for one day while we were dating. I
In
didn't
his
know
natural
his
environment,
environment.
observing him. Yes.
And another thing, we never quarreled for one day before I married him, which that's weird too.
Me
You
that
can't
like to look
take
for
somebody
trouble.
and not fight now. At
So
least,
not like fight, but did you guys have like
but
disagreements? Like you had to talk through
this is my
conflict
current
resolution?
husband.
Me that like to act drama.
Oh yeah, this is my current husband. If to say they marry people on the level of drama, I would not be married by now. But while I was dating him, I showed him pepper on
Me
drama.
telenovela style. Like I write the
Yeah,
script.
this man stole, because I didn't even know what I did right to deserve my husband. Because I didn't even try at all.
And
I
this is why you know it's a God factor because you didn't try. You didn't think it was a
no,
reward from God. God gave him to you, and you
I
to
didn't even
him.
try at all. I was always acting worse. Like all these toxic things is what I was doing to him
Yeah,
just to send him
yeah.
away.
Poor
And it
guy,
doesn't
poor
go
guy.
there.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
are too beautiful than those things. You are much more than what you're bringing now. There's a deeper issue here, and all this was stemming from my own insecurity as well. Because
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't address it again. But like I told you yesterday, you get a heartbreak once in a lifetime, and people get this in their dating life. But I got mine in marriage, and that was one of the worst experiences to go through. So yeah, I wish I had known him better, in his natural habitat, and then have a form of quarrel. See how they handle things. How do you settle fights after having one? How are they when they are hungry? Get to know them. Don't put on, oh, we're a good match. We're not fighting. No. Then another thing, I wish I didn't live where I was. He could have relocated to me because I had no business going to him because he just uprooted me from my social life, and then um just put me in one place where nobody could reach me, which it's not good because that's an advantage to any abuser. They will use that over you to get a leverage. So yeah,
Hmm.
and I
I
wish marriage was not my identity as a den as well,
Yes,
because my life was
yes.
all about I want to get
I want to
married,
be a
have
missus.
babies,
Yeah,
that.
and I don't blame you entirely for that. It's just the way we were grown as kids. And I mean, I love what you said, about using your power now for good.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I've shared my story of pregnancy losses and all that on the show, and I said that I don't think anything good that has come out of talking about that because it's still a process. Like we don't have kids yet, but the one thing I know that has helped me is to be able to talk to somebody else that is going through that. People who listen to my story and tell me this really helped me to know that I'm not alone. And I
Yeah.
think that's why we go through something. I know God doesn't want our heart breaking. He doesn't want us, to be sad and and hurting all the time. But if we can use our stories to build other people up, I think that's why we need to keep talking about our stories. Let's not let shame cover it up. And I think that mirrors what you said. And so Linda wants to know, have you thought
Yeah.
about starting a non-profit organization
I
to
want to
assist
do
women?
that. Yeah,
Yes, from a God
because
support perspective, I think that would be wonderful.
have helped women going through abuse, a lot of times this past year. So I really want
I
to do
think that's a
that.
sign right there, because
I, I'm
you don't
so
have to
good
pay
defending
taxes,
them.
501c, and you can,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you get a lot of support because, especially in our cultural setting as Nigerians, we don't talk about this issue. It's almost like, don't say it outside anymore. Don't talk about it.
Oh
And so
yeah.
what? The woman is dying. She's getting infected with
Oh
STDs.
yeah.
She's, she's not the same person anymore. But the pictures on Instagram is so glossy enough. Everybody thinks they're a perfect family, but you don't know, maybe the husband is being battered by the wife. And I know
I
it goes
know.
both ways. It's not just women that are being battered, but we need to know that there are so many supports out there. And I think I really encourage, and I'm going to be on top of you on this one. Plus the other issue,
I
like,
will
girl,
do it.
you
Yeah.
have to start that 501c. You have to start that non-profit
Because the
organization.
research I've done this past few years about defending women, I went to social services with one of my friends that were going through, some an abuse as a then. The social worker was like, "Be thankful that you have this lady as your friend. She knows so much." I'm not a lawyer. Oh, it's research that I did.
We
Like,
don't even need lawyer.
this guy, you did this, and I asked my friend, like, "Are you sure you told me is what happened? Do not lie to me, because if I'm gonna fight for you, I want to fight to the last to make sure that I'm not gonna regret doing this." And she told me everything. This guy was almost gonna be deported, but you know how love is. My friend had to say, "I still
It
love
was
my
a
husband.
mistake. Yeah.
I still love my husband."
We'll
So
keep praying
yeah.
for them. We'll keep praying for them. Now, before you go, I want you to say something wonderful to your husband. Like, leave a note to him. And I know we're here, so keep it
Hey,
PG.
Mr.
Keep it
Omopariola.
PG. Yeah, I think you should say something to him. And I think it's a time to also honor him, because when Kelechi, our mutual friend, because I really was worried about you, Morin. Like, even though I
Yeah.
couldn't talk to you about it because I didn't want you to be bothered, but myself and Kelechi used to talk a lot, and she would give me updates. And when we were staying with some other people that were trying to misbehave,
Oh yeah.
yeah. But when she finally told me that, no, Maureen's new husband, like, I don't even worry about her at all. Like, Maureen is enjoying, Maureen is a princess. I said, okay, thank God, our prayers have been answered. So I want to use this opportunity to honor your husband, because
Yeah.
he's probably had to go through a lot as well with all of the things you came into the marriage with. But that's the true
Yeah.
test of a man, that together you guys are trying to, fix the
Build
broken
each other
parts.
up.
Exactly. So I want you to just say some words. Like I said, please keep it PG. I don't want to, my ears are still innocent.
Well, Mr. Omopariola, because he's right here too, he's watching. I really want to thank you. I thank God for who you are and for bringing you into my life. My husband is a very simple person, simple to the core, to the point that sometimes I'll be like, I'm bullying this man too much. Oh, like,
He
he
loves
doesn't
you.
even
It's
deserve some,
love.
yeah, he doesn't even deserve some of the things I do. And he will just be like, oh, it's because somebody don't share, you don't know what, and he will just go away like that. And by the time he comes, then another thing, he doesn't know how to get angry. I've not seen a human like that. You know, me, I will tell him, come and learn anger from me.
I'll keep praying for you, Maureen.
I know,
And
I
pray
even
for
want to
pray
come.
for me too.
Jesus, help me, Lord. Yeah, he's a very simple man. He doesn't get angry. His anger, he will say, I'm angry at you. And I'll be looking at his face and I'll be laughing like, is this one anger that you are displaying? And from there, from laughing and trying to make him look stupid, he'll just be like, you know what, I give up on you. And then,
Oh, so
so
he's
we
bringing
don't,
out the child in you. Oh,
exactly.
oh.
And this has been all the things I had imagined to
But it should be
happen
like,
that never
yeah.
happened. So when all the good things are not happening, I'm like, is this for real, or let me not get too comfortable. But after a while, that and another thing, consistency. When somebody is faking it, they can
You will
only
know
fake but
for
for a
so long,
moment.
for so
Yeah,
long. Yeah.
you can, because your behavior will be consistent. If you're faking it, you have to keep track of what you're doing.
If you knew a bit, like Yoruba people say, like your character
Yeah,
is like smoke. You can't hide it for so long before
exactly.
evaporate and everybody see it for what it
So
is.
I know, and it's just the best and everything. And one thing you guys may not know, I eat noodles a lot at 2 a.m. And this man is every day he cooks noodles.
Jeez, girl, aren't you using your privilege card too much? Now I'm jealous. Hey,
you know,
babe.
when I'm studying and I become hungry, he would have been sleeping. And I always say this, this is all these little things, they may not seem a lot, but it matters because I can't imagine myself sleeping, like you had slept around 10 p.m. and somebody waking you up 2 a.m. and saying they are hungry. And you get up like that and go do it. Prepare them that food. Not because I can't do it, but he has just indulged me that I can't just do it. I'll be like, babe, Joe, I'm hungry, please. And he'll be like, okay, I got it. Just keep on doing what you're doing. Keep studying. I'll get this for you. If
So
somebody
kudos
had
to
woken me up, I will. So yeah, kudos to him. All these little things, he has spoiled me in so many ways I can't imagine, and I respect him a lot. He's a man of honor, and I wish all men would be like him. Love your wife, love your wife, love your wife. That's the only person you have. Just you two. And he's a good man. So you guys, if you love me a lot, help me say thank you to my husband though.
and the prayer too. Prayer for them and all
I'm
that.
glad
Yeah.
he came into my life. Yeah,
Yeah.
really.
And kudos to whatever, like what shaped him, maybe his family, his mom, his dad, the people
Yeah,
he encountered, everything that added to
he's a
making Mr.
honorable man.
Omopariola. Yes, we're grateful for that. And I think finally is, the place of therapy. And I know I'm still on your neck for that.
You keep saying
Yeah,
that.
I still keep saying that, because I haven't gone through half of what you've gone through, and my life
But
hashtag is
this is the thing.
Jesus and therapy.
No, but Tolan, this is the thing that I told you. I
Yeah.
have these vaults, like I said. It's
Yeah.
like a dumping vault. Once I dump it in there, I don't go there to open it.
Everybody's like that, but one day that thing's gonna get full, and then it's all gonna come out tumbling out, and before you know it, but I'm still gonna be on your neck,
I only
therapy,
have
girl.
3 major things I've dumped there, and this is one of it. And I feel talk therapy is a way to get over this, which is what I'm doing. I really appreciate you for giving me this platform to do this, because we've kept this secret for so long, and I still feel not talking about it is like I'm ashamed of it, or it's still holding me back from things. No, I want to be naked, be as I am, let people know my story and pick from it and not make the same mistake.
So how do you feel right now? Like before you came on the show, and now how do you feel?
I told you last night I could not sleep because I was like, am I actually gonna do this? I kept thinking, I remember you messaging me like, are you not gonna sleep? Are you okay?
Yeah.
I was just thinking and in my mind praying that, God, is this actually the time to do this? Am I actually doing this? I just want to have that fun. Even though you sent out words that is gonna happen, I don't want to do like last minute I'm canceling. No, so I had to talk to God about it. I want to do this once and for all and get my closure. I don't want to have to remember being ghosted and cry anymore, because that's the only thing that makes me cry once in a while when I remember. It's not the fact that actually happened. So
it's a ghosted,
I'm going to do this once and for all and get it over with. And I'm here. I feel great.
Okay, and I know, and I
So
have a
many
feeling,
people
have
are
a strong
watching right
feeling that
now. My friends, family members, I love you guys. Kelechi, my dramatic queen.
Our
Thank you so much.
Sarita, whatever her name is, and I
Sarita.
think, and thank you so much for sharing that. So you guys, you've heard Morin's story. For those who might be in this situation, if you think I'm not, I don't have experience with that, but at least you know Morin's name. Please reach out to her. Maureen, is that okay? Let her just put you through. This is her ministry right now. My ministry is towards those that
This
have had
is my
pregnancy losses and
ministry,
all that. This is her ministry. So reach out to her and talk to her, confide in her, and see how she can help you. Because together we shouldn't live life alone. That's number one. Like, don't live life in isolation. It's just you're gonna be that lone sheep that has been sequestered from the herd, and then you're gonna be like a target for the devil and whatnot. So don't live life alone. And then reach out to someone like Morin. If you know somebody, that is going through that, and if you want to reach out through me, like
and
maybe
I
you
will
don't know her
tell you
name.
this too. Sorry to cut you off.
That's okay.
Oh, I have people calling me about their marriages, even people that are older than me in their 40s, like that, telling me stuff that they are going through, and I'll have to advise them do this. So that even made me to be sure that it's a ministry. And they tell me these things, and they don't hear anything about it from outside or anything. Whatever they say, I keep it confidential, and we move past it. And I'm glad you find me comfortable to share things like that with me. So yeah.
Yes, and I'll say that about Morin. She's very trustworthy and all that. So, guys, this was the show. Thank you all for those that tuned in today.
Thank you.
And thank you for your questions and your comments. And I know, Maureen, I have this big feeling in my heart that those nights of tears are over. If it's tears, it's gonna
Oh,
be tears of
girl,
joy. And I think this is the closure. This is it because it's out there, and
finally.
and so you guys please keep Maureen in prayers. The anytime the devil wants to use this as a way to trigger her so that she doesn't enjoy her
Oh,
current relationship, and
no.
also use it as a point of contact to those that are out there listening that are divorced and are looking up to God unto God for finding their own man.
A good
It's
man.
possible. It's really possible, and that's
Oh,
why
yeah.
I brought
Mhm.
more into the show.
It is.
If you desire marriage again, I think it's a beautiful aspiration, and I use it
It
as a
is.
point of contact. Like just as Maureen found her husband, you'll
Mr.
find yours
Right.
as well, Mr. Right, so Mr. God sent, and all that. And together, you guys can build through that. But in the meantime, find ways to keep building yourself up. Therapy, finding who to talk to, finding out what missteps you took as well, and how to avoid that happening again. Because chances are, if you've been in a toxic relationship, you're highly likely to enter another one unless you change some things or there's a divine intervention. But at least you need to know what your hang-ups and your shortcomings are. So I want to thank you all for all contributing. Linda says, thank you for being vulnerable and telling a story that most are not willing to talk about and bringing freedom not to only yourself, but to those who are listening or will listen to this for years from now. Yes. And we use this as a point of contact that those that are in those relationships, this would be like a call to action for them to start seeking help, to start seeking resources to help them out. This was the show. If you love the show, I have plenty more where that came from. Different stories, of course. So check out www.mostable.com. You can also follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Mostable. I'm also on Facebook, like right now. And if you want to be on the show as well, just email me. I share stories, even if it's things that I'm not I don't think I'm smart all the time. I have a little burst of smartness every now and then. But I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to,
That's right.
talk about things with you. So how I can help you, because this is my ministry to help people set their stories free, because I have set mine free and it's been really,
Yeah.
freeing for me. And I want to help you live in that consciousness of not letting shame of things that have happened to you to hold you back. So however I can help you, reach out to me. It would be my honor to have you on the show and share your, story as well. Thank you guys for, being with us this Saturday morning. And morning, I can't even thank you enough. But I'm so glad, sister, that
Thank
we are at
you
this
for the
very moment.
opportunity.
All right. All right, everyone. And I'm
Thanks,
gonna put this. Yeah,
everyone.
I'm gonna
I
put this
appreciate you.
on YouTube so you guys can watch as well, and I will send that out to you, Maureen, as well. All right, bye.
No problem. Thank you.
Have a
Bye.
happy Saturday. Bye. Anything.